Well, blessings, everybody. This is Dale. Thank you so much for joining with me today on the Word podcast. We're in Proverbs 30. We're actually drawing close to the end of it. We're up to verse 24. And we've seen these examples where the Proverbs is saying, here's three things plus one more, and then he describes something. Well, beginning with verse 24, where we are right now, he actually just states from the beginning, four things on earth are small. They are exceedingly wise. And then he gives us a colon right here. So that's verse 24. He doesn't do the three things plus one, but it continues the same idea that he's been driving home. Okay, there's four things that he's about to give us an example of that are on earth, and they're small. Okay, they're little, they're tiny, but they're exceedingly wise. Now, how does he know that these things, which we haven't mentioned yet, are exceedingly wise? Well, when he mentions them, when we read it, I wanted to say that at the very beginning to sort of point this out. He sees their wisdom by observation. He looks at it. How many times have you heard me say it? Look out the window. Pay attention. What do you see? Remember the things that he talked about earlier that were a mystery? The way that an eagle flies, that type of thing. He's just looking out and he sees it. So here we go, verse 25. The ants are a people not strong, yet they provide their food in the summer. Verse 26. The rock badgers are a people not mighty, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. Verse 27. The locusts have no king, yet all of them march in rank. And 28. The lizard you can take in your hands, yet it is in the king's palaces. Okay, so he's using creatures of the earth here, and he's showing us some things. And he said they are exceedingly wise, though they're very small. What are the ants like? He says they're not like a people. They're not like a strong people at all. We all know that we can destroy an ant very, very easy in a multitude of ways, right? He says, yet they provide their food in the summer. You know, the ant is a really, really good little study to pay attention to in the scripture. A lot of the things that we encounter within our culture and our society today come about because of the truths that we see in the ant. It's real simple. If you don't work in the summer, you're not going to eat in the winter. If you're dependent upon other people or other mechanisms for your, absolute sustenance, then you're going to be in real trouble. And it's going to change everything. But he says even the ants aren't like that. They provide their food in the summer. Just examine the ants and pay attention to them. Then he says, verse 26, the rock badger. The King James calls them conies. Okay, so a rock badger is a coney, it's a hyrax. And if you're like me, you're thinking, well, that doesn't really help me much. No, New American Standard calls them Shephanim. They're just basically little badgers, what we would call the badgers. And these rock badgers live where? Well, in the rocks, right? But look what he says about them. The rock badgers are a people not mighty. So the ants, they're not a strong people. The rock badgers are a people not mighty. But notice what he's calling them. The ants are a people not strong. The rock badgers are a people not mighty. Now, New American Standard translates it, are not a strong people. Okay, I understand that. A couple other translations say are creatures of little strength. Yeah. But I think we sort of miss a little nuance right there. Maybe like the King Jimmy says, the ants are a people not strong. Same way the ESV does. But it still describes them as a people. Now, does that mean that they are actual human beings? No. He says, but they are a group. They are a group of animals that live together and work together. They are organized together. The rock badgers, what do? They're not mighty, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. So their homes are up in the holes in the cliffs of the mountain. Well, how do they know how to do that? How does an ant know how to provide their food in the summer? How does a rock badger know to go and make a home in the cliffs? Well, why in the cliffs? Well, obviously, the primary thing from the point is safety. Large animals of prey can't get to them up there. Yeah, they still have to be careful. You got a hawk or an eagle that'll buzz down on you right there and get you, that kind of thing. But they make their homes up there. Look at verse 27. The locusts have no king. So we're talking about locusts, talking about gigantic grasshoppers, okay? They don't have a king. There is no one king locust. There's no one locust that they follow. Now, how did he know this? He was observing. He watched. He lived life. They have no king, yet all of them march in rank. They march in formation. The locust, even if you see a swarm of locusts and it looks like a cacophony, you think there's no sense to this. Oh, there's tremendous rank and organization to it. They literally will move across a land and devour every piece of green. I mean, anything green, they're going to devour. They notice how they describe. They march, or they advance, or they go forth across, and they do it in rank. And then the last one, the lizard. You can take it in your hands. It's a favorite pastime of boys, right? It's to capture lizards. Part of the thrill, you can catch it. You can catch a lizard. Yet it is in the king's palaces. Well, what's that talking about? Well, you can catch a lizard, but they're everywhere. You catch a lizard and you put it out, something else is going to come back in. You catch a lizard and you destroy it, there's still going to be more lizards. They're everywhere. You can take them in your hand, you can try to get rid of them, but they're still there. They are about. And they're exceedingly wise. Now, actually, you want to keep them in the king's palace. That's another element of this. Why would a king want to allow lizards to live in their palace? We used to live in South Florida. And boy, you talk about lizards. We had lizards. And we always had one or two or three that were in the house. And now, when you live down there, you get used to it. Nobody freaks out. But if you have somebody visiting, they go, well, you got a lizard running around here. Yeah. We try to catch it, but if we catch it and put it out, another one's going to show up. But why would we want to keep the lizard in there? The lizard take care of other things, like spiders, other insects, other bugs. It's like a self-cleaning apparatus within your house. Long before those little fancy vacuum cleaner things that go around by themselves, little robotic things, you had lizards. And the lizards would take care of those kind of things. Now, sometimes they'd freak you out. I'd be sitting there working at a desk, and sometimes they'd run across your desk or out of the corner of your eye on the floor. You go, that kind of thing. But you just get sort of used to a lizard being around doing lizardy things, actually taking care of the king's palace. So remember what I said at the very beginning. Agar, remember, he's the one writing this. He says, you know what? There's 4 things on earth that are really small, but they're really, really wise. You know how those ants, they gather their food for the summer because they know what's going to happen in the winter. The rock badgers, they live way up there where nothing can get to them. The locusts, man, they are organized. They work together. Any one locust, useless. A swarm of them can take down an entire nation by eating their food supply. And the lizards, you know what? You can capture them in your hands, but they're really very, very useful. And the king actually lets them live in his palace. Some really interesting things here. Well, wow, my time's up. Again, I'm Dale. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.